Hey friends, good evening. It's Valerie Lee. It's probably shouldn't have started my live where all the traffic is when we walk. So be prolific. This was my dinner time sage wisdom to my young adult children today, which I actually really mean from the bottom of my heart. So first, some context. I used to say to my kids, be prepared. Like, once I hit a certain age, I'm like quite content that you guys have everything that you need to, live your life and work and be a young adult. And I'm just going to, I actually said that, I hope I don't have to be on this planet for longer than age 70 now. That is not quite as morbid as it sounds. I basically just meant that feel like, yeah, done my life's work. Although that's also probably a bit limiting. But recently, I started to say to them, I have a new parenting purpose and sticking around probably till about 80 or 90 because you guys are going to need some help to stay the course. And that was because Chat GPT and AI became the new norm and the new reality. And I sat and I watched and I discovered that we're in a new world right now. So, dinner time conversation today, excuse the huffing and the puffing, just walking up a hill. Dinner time conversation today was because we were talking about needing to finish some uni assignments and some HSC assignments and striving for inspiration and the temptation to use ChatGPT or other people's work and other people's thought processes to spring inspiration and the creative thought from. And I basically said, no, 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 no. Creativity is about being prolific and not being perfectionistic and about being original and not reproducing other people's thoughts. And it is a foundational principle because being original, and I don't mean being absolutely creative from the creative or performing arts point of view, but being able to think original thoughts comes from building insight, self-awareness, awareness of the world, synthesizing ideas and thoughts that you encounter, and be able to, within that, figure out where the original, unique thought space is. And if you've been following me long enough, you have probably heard me say that I think parenting in this age is really about raising our children not just to be resilient, but to actually be original thinkers. And the reason I think that is since ChatGPT has hit the world, it's been fascinating for me to watch how the business community has risen to embrace it. There are some people who, out of their fears, feel threatened by how it's going to rob us of jobs. In fact, there have been some strong opinions about how it's going to kill creativity and how dare we think that it will, have the ability to write books. Well, it will have the ability, it already does have the ability. So there are those who have been afraid and therefore have been opinionated and have come down hard on solicitor, the thinking that they're, not going to embrace it. I think that's foolishness. There's been another camp that that believes that, oh yes, we're open to using it. We're going to use it. And how do they use it? They use it based on how they're seeing other people use it. So they're adopters of the technology, but they're not necessarily fully using the potential of the technology by seeking their unique space and then using it as a tool. They're basically copying how other people are using it. And then There's another category of people, and these people are fascinating to me. They're the ones that have seen that there is this need now to, or not need, but yeah, a need to, well, how do we use this? And they've capitalized on that space where people aren't seeking their own insight and awareness and using the technology uniquely. And so they've written, 100 chat GPT prompts that you can use right now for your business, or 50 ways chat GPT can, so there are these thought um, you can download and buy these resources now on how to use it. Now that's fascinating to me because all of these categories of people um, are basically in a marketplace where a new technology has disrupted and will disrupt our space. And we're all having these reactions, but fundamentally, without really articulating a basic issue, which is it will change the game for human beings and how they behave. And so my challenge, if you like, to our whole family of students, this too is a very bad place to sit. Why are there so many cars? Is to remember how our brains are wired for creativity, and that having original thoughts is part of our forever growth process. This is probably going to be a really bad lie. I wonder if I'll have to redo it because I just don't know why there are so many cars at this time of the night. Good grief. Okay, I'm just going to finish because I don't know what the quality of the sound is, and if it's really, really bad, I'll just have to redo it tomorrow. So the basic human process of becoming original and having creative thoughts and your own voice, knowing your own self, your mind, and then embracing technology or whatever disruption that comes means that we still have to figure out how to how our brain works. And so my advice to my kids is be prolific, because the creative process at the end of the day is a process of being prolific. You have to produce. You have to get rid of perfectionism. You have to dump as many ideas as you can. And from there will come a testing of ideas, and you'll find, now there's no light here, inspiration. This is a very poor line from that. And the reason why I'm hanging around for my kids for another 2 decades probably is because they're not going to realize this until they've had enough encounters with the world to start to see that ideas, an original thought, comes from encountering and having a unique and new experiences. Right now, we live in a bit of a bubble. They go to school, they go to university, they haven't encountered the world of travel. They haven't encountered books outside of textbooks. They haven't read outside of the types of fantasy and pleasure reading that they read. They haven't yet encountered human beings who will disappoint them, frustrate them, let them down, backstab them, betray them, as well as exhilarate them and excite them and astound them and inspire them. They haven't yet experienced what it is to put a stake in the ground and say, I believe this, and to experience, I was wrong when I believed that. Let me hear your point of view. I believe that we need to push our kids out into the world to continue to encounter and experience and engage, because I think at the end of the day, with this sort of disruption in technology, it will be the ones who, there's the fourth category that I didn't mention, who are quietly observing the world, watching the reactions, and building new disruptive ways to solve more complex problems. They're taking their time, quietly chipping away at the back, having these processes, observations, and encounters, and continuing to engage with the world. And that's where I want my kids to be. I'm not going to listen to this today. If it was really poor and appalling, I shall try to record it again tomorrow. But those are my thoughts. Good night.